Hey everyone, it's what is it? It's Tuesday.
It's
That's
Tuesday.
why we're talking.
Murgoddess manifesting
That's the
Tuesdays.
one. The next
The
now.
next now. Wave it on
Hey,
in.
hey, is that your Skype name is Get Superstar Fit?
Yeah, I think because it's an old, I don't know how to change it.
Oh well,
Yeah, that's
why
that's like
why?
that was like my when I was overweight, that was my first like username was like I was getting superstar fit. Now that I'm already a superstar, it's just Murgoddess.
Uh-huh. Okay, so that was your training wheels
Yes, that was my
manifestation.
training wheels to get superstar fit. Now that I'm already superstar fit, it's, just
That's it.
Murgoddess now.
Because under my camera it says HD Pro 9 C920. So I don't even
Oh,
know. I think I'm manifesting Logitech or something. Uh,
that's funny.
yeah. So
Cool.
what's new since last week?
What's new since last week? Well, I've been finding a lot of gratitude in my exciting days, especially like it's been raining and I get to like get soaked.
Hmm.
So I got to experience that again today when the bus didn't come for like 25 minutes and it was like pouring down rain. My socks are getting wet and a part of me wanted to be like, okay, maybe I'll just go inside and not go to the gym. And then I was like, oh, there's another bus coming in 3 minutes. And so then I allowed myself to find that gratitude and get to the gym. And then I was stronger and was excited. I started rice training. Have you ever done rice training?
Like rest, ice, compression, elevation.
No, like you're playing in like rice that you cook. So basically it's like you get like so Laura's husband Joe got like 9.5 pounds of rice for me and you pour it in this like construction bucket and you work your forearms and your fingers and like all these really
Oh
fun
wow. I
things.
suddenly got excited that maybe I could like if we fill a swimming pool with rice, I could learn how to swim without getting wet.
Swim. Yes, you could. It's really fun. Like and like today, like I felt stronger with 1 day of race training. So I recommend it for
Wow.
all.
Okay. Wow. Well, when you graduate to lentils, let me know
Yeah.
because I think you need
Exactly.
to balance those in order to I don't know.
Right? But it's
Uh,
interesting how like it's like I mean it is resistance. Like I mean there's like if you go on YouTube and you Google rice training, like rock climbers do it and like there's all these really like fun techniques that people do and I'm like,
ah.
okay, this is great.
Wow. I could try because
So new toy.
wow, because the thing I've been trying to do since I saw Game Changers is the battling ropes at the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And I always have to pretend that like I'm bored, right? Because like it's one of the only things at the gym that everybody wants to watch, right? Like nobody's looking
Uh-huh.
at the people on the cardio machines, nobody's looking at the people squatting the weights. But if you're doing the ropes, it's like it's eye
Yes.
catching, and so I have to be like, well, that was enough, instead of like whimpering and crawling away.
You have to just like be like, whew, like that was easy, right?
Yeah, like that was exactly how long I intended 45 seconds. That was the whole point of driving 20 minutes this morning.
Just for that.
Yeah.
But that rice training, it would build your forearms so that then you could go for like another 45 seconds and be like, whew,
Yeah.
that was light.
That's what I was thinking. I could humiliate myself in private with rice.
Yes, exactly. Get you a nice construction bucket, get the right and get a lid so that, if it'll be safe in there and then you just
I could
get your hands in there.
Oh, when you said lid, I suddenly realized I could like take it as carry-on when I go on trips.
Exactly, you
Like I don't have
could.
to find a
So,
gym when I go to New Orleans. I could just have my rice bucket.
no. Yep, and you'll be crunching away. That'll be the
Yeah.
new thing. And I mean, you really feel like you worked out. Like, it's fascinating. Like, I didn't even think. Like, now it's like part of my daily routine, you know?
Hmm. Cool. Which reminds me, like how little we need in order to like take a step, right?
Yeah.
Like Josh and I were talking this morning about the idea of the gradient. Like we think, like when you were, overweight and you said like get superstar fit. I don't know what you thought you had to do to get superstar fit, but it probably wasn't play in a bucket of rice.
No.
Right, like, oh, I've got to join the gym. Right, like we all have these rungs of the ladder that we think we have to start on, and like most of us think like, oh, I have to start at the third floor, as opposed to like the gradient. I was just I was trying to make some videos here in my little office of like what could be helpful to help people get moving in an office, and it was like, you know what, like squatting like this, like dropping down 4 inches, is
Mhm.
incredibly challenging if you hold it for a minute.
Mhm.
Uh, so like
Yeah.
all the things that we have right now that we can do. And for most people, I think like when you say construction bucket, you mean like the one you pick up for like $3 at Home Depot or Lowe's, like a
Yeah.
5 gallon
Uh-huh.
bucket.
Yep.
Another
Mhm.
dollar for the lid.
Yep.
And you can get a giant bag of rice at an Asian grocery store for
Mhm.
like a 10-pound bag of rice for like $3 or $4.
Mhm.
Like, and you're saying this is like really good for your arms, for your grip.
For your forearms, your grip, your fingers, because basically I'm learning how to catch the water. So I've been swimming and I've been like completely missing like half of my arm when I'm swimming. And so, like, if I could like use all of my arm,
Hmm.
what happens in my swimming. And so basically, like, my coach, he had this golfer do the rice training, and the golfer was able to like putt further just by doing the rice training. So he like firmly believes in it and was like, I believe that you're gonna understand what to do, in the water. Cause it's like we have habits, right? So we learn a certain way, and then, it's a new way. And so then it just takes some time to
Hmm.
learn a new way. And so, like, as I'm being patient with my body and doing all these things, like, he's allowing like different tools that are going to help me so that I can, like, but I'm actually like, it's amazing like how quick I'm responding and my body is reacting and doing what it should do. I'm like already 13 seconds faster from my last race like a week ago. So it's pretty like I'm like catapulting and as far as like getting stronger and all those things. So that's really
Cool.
exciting
And
too.
it's so
Yeah.
great that it's plant based, that you're not like doing a shrimp bucket or
I know. Yeah. Like if he would have said that, I would have been like, no, like no, like I'm good. But it's like, it has to be the good rice. Like you can't go to like get Uncle Ben's rice because then you'll get all the rice like on your hands, because
a
it has to be like rice that doesn't like come off,
like whole
know?
whole grain rice.
The whole grain. I mean, I got like the jasmine rice, so that
Hmm.
one's like pretty good. And it's just fascinating. Like I already want to like go and do it now because it's just so fun. Like it's really cool. Like I didn't like it took me a while to get the rice because I was like, I don't know what it was. I was like, well, one, I was like getting on a bus to then get the rice and then carry like a 10-pound bag of rice on the bus didn't really seem like something I wanted to do. So that was like one thing. But then when Laura's husband like delivered it to my home, it just made it way easier.
Hmm. See,
And then it was fun.
I have a friend who's like, when I couldn't run, he's like, "What? Just go buy a big bag of kitty litter and put it in a backpack and walk." Right. So
Uh-huh.
it's like we think we need like fancy stuff, and like life is all around. Like when you talk about like the gratitude of a missing the bus and having to be out in the rain for 3 minutes, like we can just look around at our environment and there's all this stuff that's kind of hard to do. Like this weekend, I got an email on Saturday night. They needed help at the animal sanctuary, and I'm like, well, of course they email me personally. Of course I'll go. And it was we had to muck out. My partner and I were mucking out the goat stalls,
Oh, nice.
and it was like straw, but the buildings were constructed in such a way that somehow there's water getting in, and it had rained a lot here last week. So like the bottom 5 or 6 inches of straw is just waterlogged, right? So you've got to lift those up with a pitchfork, putting them into a very large tub on one of these carts that's got the handle. It's almost like imagine a little red wagon sort of thing with the handle that turns the front wheels. But it's like really big, like industrial sized for farm work. And then you got to take that, and we took it over to my truck, and the cart like comes this far off the ground, but the bed of my truck is like another 1.5 feet. So we have to like lift this thing and then drive it over and then dump it out into the compost, flipping it over, and like 3 hours of that. And I'm like,
Wow.
you know what? I did not need another workout.
No, that was like your own gym. Like you didn't like have to like have the little barbell. You had like you were lifting something. You're using every muscle in your body, and it was like super simple. Like, and you got to help the animals so that they had a clean environment. How cool is that?
Yeah. And when I was up on the truck bed, kind of, I was lifting and the other person sort of pushing to get the tub up onto the lip. Like if my form wasn't perfect, I'd be dead, right? Because this thing is like 350 pounds. So I cannot deadlift 350 pounds.
No.
But I can kind of get, squat and push and shimmy a little, as long as like my knees are in the proper position and my back isn't torqued somehow. But like I mean, we could have filled them halfway too. We're like, let's get this done, right? So
Yeah.
like our environment just gives us so many opportunities to make ourselves better, stronger, faster.
Yeah. It's fascinating. I mean, but when you're not really looking at that, right? When you're just looking at like, oh, I gotta go here, I gotta do this, like you may not see the opportunity right in front of you, like.
Yeah, and it was easy because it was the farm sanctuary, because it was like I get there and I'm like, I'm such a good person for helping the animals, right? So I was already right.
Yes.
I was in the pre-glow of my good deed. And then the animals are right there, and you can see like here's what is needed for them. And they can't do it for themselves because they don't have like opposable thumbs, or they can't turn the ignition on the truck and stuff. So we have to do it for them. But the truth is that that's true of everything that I detest doing and resent doing as well. Right? It's also going to make me stronger, better if I approach it from that perspective.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of what my like manifesting like Monday like tip was. I've been doing these like tips where it's just like one word that's going to like help you, like kind of catapult your reality, right? And so like just by like having that feeling, like it doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna like manifest this like big chunk of money or whatever, right? It's like there's no attachment to an outcome, but more about like how do you feel inside, and that feeling can then carry you through the next moment and the next moment and the next moment. And then like all these really fun things like happen in your reality, you just like get surprised by different things, and it's just like a fun little game. You look at your reality as like a hologram, like it's just this fun little video game that I get to play, and it's like I don't have to take it so seriously. I can just like be here and like see what this is, and like just play.
Yeah. I want to tell you about a study, but first I want to tell you my dream. Because my dream that I woke up from this morning, which I remember, and that's very unusual because they fade, but I was woken up by my alarm clock at 5:30 just in the middle of this horrible dream. And it was essential.
Wow.
It was essential. Like I have these dreams all the time where I'm trying to get somewhere and I can't. And this was, we were trying, my family, we were trying to get home and we had to catch a plane and no one was helping. And I didn't know where the passports were or where the airport was. And then we're all in like this underground road or a parking garage. And I don't know if we're waiting for the bus to take us to the plane and we miss the plane and I lose everyone. And you know, and it feels very realistic, right? Like I'm really upset. And then the alarm goes off and I'm like, oh, I'm so happy now to have all the shitty things that I have because like, and then I thought, what if I could believe that about this too? Like this is like that was a dream that I was caught up in and I was miserable in. And what if I can take the same attitude towards this life? Like what if this is a dream too and I'm going to wake up from it like, you know, maybe that's what they call death. Like oh, wow, you got so worked up over that. Over that video game.
Yeah, like I saw somebody like talking about how like she interviews her thoughts. So basically like as thoughts come in, she like interviews them and like questions them like she's like the, you know, like on a podcast, right? And it's like, huh, like what's that? And like how, you know, like and so it really like that kind of like spoke to me like, huh, like because like I've been really working on like manifesting and law of attraction and really trying to see like how I can raise my vibration, how I can raise my frequencies so that I can attract the things that I want, you know? And so it all depends on like our thoughts and like and what's going on. And so what you're saying about your dream, it's like another way for you to like see your reality as just like, huh, okay, like and it's just another way for you to like raise your frequency so that it's like, huh, okay,
Yeah.
like, you know,
Yeah, like I had no doubt that that was happening.
yeah,
There was no part of my consciousness that was going, this is kind of weird. Maybe this is a dream. Like, no, there was no clues.
yeah, it was just like, whoa, what's happening here? But it's also like, you know, we have like subconscious beliefs and thoughts and things that are just like in our systems. And so like sometimes that's like what dreams and things like that can be is like something that's like deeply rooted in your subconscious is now trying to be released. So maybe like you like, you know, looking at your reality now and taking things lighter and doing all those things is like allowing you to like up level, right? Like to your next like thing or whatever that is, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, as I said, it's been a recurring theme of trying to get somewhere and just being stymied again and again and again. And, you know, that feels real in my life.
Yeah.
Like there's an energy there that that has something to teach me.
Yeah. And so then like now by you like feeling it and experiencing it and like all these things, like it's allowing it to heal so that then you can like let that go and, you know, learn the next beautiful lesson that will appear.
Right, right. So I promised you a study.
Yes.
So there's a researcher named Richard Wiseman who studies luck. Which, like, when I heard that, it's like, what? How do you study luck? And it's beautiful. So basically, I'll give you a sort of an overview of the type of studies he does without, you know, not just basically take a bunch of people and ask them, do you feel like you're a lucky or an unlucky person? And people often have a view about themselves in that way. Like, yeah, no, I'm unlucky. You know, I don't win things and things happen to me. Or, yeah, I'm lucky. Right. So he gets baseline. Do you think you're lucky or do you think you're unlucky? Then he has them do tasks and has them do the identical task. So one of them was he gives them what looks like a section of a newspaper, like a daily paper. And he says, your job is to count the number of photos and you get, you know, we'll pay you for telling us the correct number of photos in this newspaper section and for doing it quickly. So, so what would you do? You'd look at it, you'd go through, and you'd maybe make a note and sort of hash marks like, oh, here's 3 on this page, 4, 5, 6. On page 2, in a large box, in large letters, it says, there are 43 photographs in this section. The lucky people saw it. The unlucky people didn't. So what he says was, there was another study where in the middle it said, if you take this paper up to the to the researcher right now and show them this paragraph, they'll give you $50. And again, the lucky people saw it. So he says what his definition of luck is what you're looking for. Mm-hmm. Right? If you are in discovery mode, if you think the universe is basically a fun place to be, a place where there's toys and games and prizes and rewards, you're always looking for that. So think of humans out in the savannah looking for fruit or looking for roots. You can only go, foraging if you're in discovery mode. Whereas if you're in fight or flight, if you think the world is a dangerous place, you're only looking at avoiding risk. And so he says that's the difference between lucky and unlucky people. Your basic orientation, whether you are in discover or defend.
And that's kind of like similar to like our own beliefs, like whatever we believe about ourselves, that is essentially what we create in our reality. If you believe that you're just like this unsuccessful person or whatever, like, and then that just keeps playing, that story keeps playing in your life,
Yeah, you act it out.
Yeah,
we act out the stories. Right. And, and one way to change the stories is to go to therapy, which I would never discourage anyone from going to therapy.
Yes.
But another way, again, like there's, the rice bucket, like what's right in front of you right now is to interview your thoughts or to sit with your feelings, right? Like there are things that we can often take responsibility for. Go for a walk, right? Lift some weights. These are all ways of hacking the stories by giving us different inputs.
Yeah, and just like, it can be like the tiniest thing, right? Like it could be like you normally do this, but today I decided to do 5 push-ups, and that's going to be more than what you did the previous day. And then it starts a new story. It starts a new storyline of like, okay, like, yes, I always do this, but now I did something different. And so now I can start seeing myself in a new way, and that like leads to other great things.
Yeah. And what I love about physical activity and physical training is that it's so measurable, right? Like if I say, well, I'm going to be a kinder person today, and I come home, I go, I don't know, was I a kinder person? Maybe I was. I kind of felt kinder, or I had a nicer conversation with someone, but it's very fuzzy, right? But if I'm going to the gym and I can lift a heavier weight this week than last week, there's something blessedly objective about, oh, I grew. I changed.
Yeah.
I did Elizabeth is saying hi. Hi, Elizabeth. I did a 13-minute mile instead of a 17-minute mile. Like, okay, I can't not see that. And it has to change my story somehow.
And then you just have more of a belief in yourself because you're like, whoa, I did that thing. Now I'm going to do another thing. Like today, like, I did this, my coach called it like, we're going to have fun now, because like my facial expression was like, oh my gosh, I'm, looking like you're killing me right now, but let's have some fun, So he's like, you're going to push off the wall, and you're just going to see, like, you're going to float. You're not going to move anything. And you're going to try to beat your score every time. And so what he would do, and I was like, okay, like, so how do I do it? And he's like, there's a belief that you're going to have a desire to beat it. That's it. You're just going to have the desire to beat that score. And what happened, I believed that I could do it. And literally my arms floated a little longer the next time. And so it was like fascinating that like even like the tiniest thing, like just like floating, can now like create this belief that I'm going to be a faster swimmer by doing that, you know? And it was like, I mean, why is a professional swimmer floating? But it's like, oh, it's true, because even a professional swimmer has more desire, more beliefs to develop throughout, you know, their journey.
Right. And the more we do this, the less we have to believe anything.
Yeah, exactly. Because it just comes natural. It's just like, oh yeah, like of course I'm gonna beat that every time, because you know, like I mean, there's still like some subconscious like unworthy belief that I'm constantly like having chats, interviewing, you know, interviewing myself, like okay, what is this, you know, and seeing where that is. But it get like the more we practice, the more I do something different than I did yesterday, I just keep writing a new story, and it just keeps getting better and better. So the advice is like, you know, just do something a little different than yesterday. And physical activity is a great way to push yourself and get some really great results. Even floating in the pool. Now you know. Like, see, Howard, you can like push off the wall and do some floating. You don't even have to kick.
Yeah.
And then get Mia to like stand at the side and be like, "Did you beat it?"
Yeah. She could be in the water with like, you know, blueberries or something like
Yes, exactly.
20
Like,
feet gets you a
okay.
blueberry.
And then you get a whole 3 blueberries when you get to this level.
Yeah, yeah, that's the way to my heart.
Yes, blueberries.
All right. Well, so
Cool.
the takeaway is do something different today. Do something physical different today, and you'll start a cascade.
Yeah.
All right.
Sweet.
All right. We did it. Another one in
We
the
did
can.
it. Another one in the can. So next week it'll be the next now.
The next now. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. Waving on
Woo.
out. Bye.